The efficient point and the inefficient point.
Yes.
I had questions about those. I don't quite understand.
Please go ahead and ask your specific question.
What did it mean when it says resources were enable and for the inefficient?
Okay, the difference between efficient point and inefficient point is, remember this efficient point is what I call on the line. Okay, you got this A, B, C, D, E. So every point here on the line, including the terminal point, ending point A and E, are considered efficient because they're on your PPC. That means if you move from one point A to B to A to C to D to E, you have to give up something. There's a trade-off involved, okay? If we're talking about efficient point, it involves trade-off. So like for example here, remember 20 pounds of coffee for Susan, 20 pounds of 12 points of nuts. So here you have to give up, in order to gain that 20 pounds, you have to give up all 12 pounds. Over here, the extreme point, you have to, in order to gain that 12 pounds, you have to give up 20 pounds of coffee. Now, inefficient point is inside. Okay? So you have a point here, and this point does not involve any trade-off. So when I say no trade-off means you could move from one point to another without having to give up something else. That's not very good. That's sort of like, remember the example I gave was everybody on that A, B, C, D, E is Susan's combo of various combinations of, oh, how many nuts, oh, how many coffee, right? Different combination. But at point E, and within that given 6 hours, but at point E, you're not even working up to 6 hours. These are the point that I say you slack. Some people slack off, right? They started to have a coffee break every half an hour, or that's very common, in 6 hours. And then the boss come by and say, what? Is this all that you've done today? What's going on? You know, I mean, that's inefficient. Maybe we should fire this guy and hire someone who can work according to that efficient point. Well, that's basically what it is in a nutshell. So, good question. So let's go on and talk about this principle known as the law of, well, the low-hanging fruit principle. How many of you have heard of this term before, the low-hanging fruit? Okay, what does it mean, Mr. Hickey?
It's like do the easy stuff first.
Uh-huh. Do the easy stuff first. I like that. Okay, very good. Like, whatever that's available to you, the resources that are easiest to get to. So imagine there's an apple tree. Okay, so you are doing a business, you have an apple tree, you have an orchard, and then people are going to come by and buy the apples from you. And all that you have to do is just sit tight next to the apple tree, set up a booth, and Mr. Simpson, you come by, and Jeremy, right? Back there, Mr. Spencer, excuse me. You come by and say, I would like to buy apple. I said, oh, no sweat. Yeah, reach for it, and here it is, 25 cents. Oh, one more? Okay, reach for it, rock it, and 25 cents. Pretty soon, you know, if people keep coming by and ask you for it, you keep reaching and reaching, pretty soon you look at it and say, whoa, what happened? They're all gone. Higher up. And you're not tall enough, because you're only 6 feet. So, what do? You need a ladder to climb, or something to just poke it, right? Prick it, so they drop. That's really not very good. People don't like to see apple drop on the ground. You pick it up and say, here it is, 25 cents. No. So anyway, what happened here is you have a hurdle. Your marginal cost is rising. So what do? You don't have a ladder, so you got to go to your neighbor's house and borrow one. And you didn't realize that neighbor has a pit bull. So he's after you, and you fail. Broke something, don't know what it is. You have to call the EMS and they come and take you to the hospital and stitch you up or whatever, bring you back 3 hours later or maybe 2 hours later. Those people are still waiting. Wow, what a faithful customer. Say, are you okay? I say, yeah. So now you got your ladder and you got everything stitched up, but you're okay. You can still climb the ladder. Get all the way up there and pluck all the apples you want and bring it down. Those people are still waiting because your apples are so good. So finally you sell the apple and say, here it is. Oh, here it is. Now how much do you think you would charge that apple? Somebody tell me.
$10.
$1? $1 is reasonable.
Whatever the market will bear.
Okay, very good answer, yeah. You will not charge 25 cents, no sir. Why? Because the marginal cost is a lot higher now. You have exhausted the easy to reach resource, the apples. Now you're going for higher. Higher means more work, more effort. So, in expanding the production of any good, first employ or use the resources at the lowest opportunity cost. Again, we're going back to that opportunity cost concept again. And only afterward you turn resources with higher opportunity cost. Or get your son to come out and do it for you because you know he can look tired and yeah, he's young and invincible. Yes, why not? Okay, so let's look at this coffee and nuts business one more time. And you notice that this PPC is bow out, right? What we call bow out, or the shape is somewhat, what do we call that? Convex. Convex, yes, not concave. Concave would be the other way. So, now, and this is kind of like your economy. This is an economy that produces coffee and nuts. So yeah, this is what we could do. This is a combination, all coffee, no nuts, all nuts, no coffee, and these are all the combos. Everybody know combos, right? You go to McDonald's, you get combos. What's a combo means?
Combo.
Items.
A mixture.
Okay, what do you get in a combo?
Fries and drink.
Fries and drink, very good. I hope hamburgers as well, right? Don't forget the most important thing is hamburger. So sometimes I use the expression, I said, go for a hamburger. Don't go for these fries and drinks because it's so light. They're not as important. But anyway, you get the point. So now, if you want to extend it further, can you do that? If you're in the economy, you want to extend your resources further, can you do that? There are a few things you could do, right?
You have to extend the amount of time.
Very good. Extend the hours, you could reach it. But beyond the hours time, what else? What else can make you go a little bit further? Like if you want to expand your economy a little bit. Think about it.
The number of people
Oh,
producing.
very good. No babies. No babies.
No
We
child labor.
want productive workers. People who are 16 years old and above. Yes. These are the ones we want to grab. The babies, let's wait another 16 years. Yeah. So, right. So, productive workforce. Very good. What else? Technology. If you have a higher technology, you could do it faster. Well, instead of like poor Susan, what's the other guy's name? Tom. Poor thing. They have to harvest everything with their hands. Have you heard about something called tractor? Yes. And you know tractors they are very expensive, right? Give me a ballpark figure of how much a tractor would cost.
New weed harvester is somewhere around 200,000.
Okay, that's pretty good. I heard about anywhere from 10,000 to 200,000. They are expensive. They're like a house, like buying a house almost. So very good. Thank you for that figure. Well, 10,000 if you don't like that, you know, that would be a job.
I
But
think you can get
We-
a Kubota for 10,000 anymore, can't you?
yeah, with no implement, all that, just the standalone. But anyway, the point here is, so with a better tractor, better technology, you could harvest everything. What Susan and Tom can do, maybe in half an hour. Juan, you want to sign? Why should I let you? Who are you? Oh, you were late. Ah, should I prorate his attention?
No,
Everybody smile.
No.
See,
you should not, because I don't want you to probe it.
Since they say no, I say all
It was
right.
under 10.
It was under 10 minutes.
Very good.
Easy as baby.
Usually I sign for my students, so even though they're late, but sometimes they forgot to sign. And I signed for them, and I told them the next class, they said, thank you so much. Yeah, that happened, but you can't always rely on the memo, so it's better that you ask for it. So, good move.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So there it is, increase in productive resources, labor or capital. What's capital here? Money, okay. Or it could be bigger tractor. Improvement in knowledge and technology. Improvement in technology, again, we could go back to our tractor example. What about knowledge? Very good, education. Education gives you power, the power of knowledge. Knowledge is power, you heard about that. Very good. I'm sorry? You don't think so? Well, we shall see by the end of the semester, I hope so. Yeah, don't give up so soon. Maybe everybody should turn to your neighbor and say, you know, don't quit. Don't ever give up on this class. This class is difficult, I can tell you in advance. It is difficult because over the years I only give out, probably shouldn't say. You probably want to know, right? Difficulty in a given semester, 1A, maybe 2. Well, I like for you to change history, yeah. Okay, so make it more A's, yeah. Some B's, some C's. Some D's, yeah. It used to be a lot of F, and since we're doing this class presentation and writing, the F have been reduced to 1 to 2. These are the people who don't show up in class, don't make it. And keep calling them, and they don't. Nothing happens, you know, like they just disappear from the face of the earth. So I try everything to help them. Anyway, so that's what it is. And how many of you know where Nepal is?
Window.
Nepal, the country of Nepal.
My friends live there right now.
You know where it is? Okay. We have you know where it is. Very good.
Oh yeah, Bishwa's from there.
Huh?
Professor Bishwa.
Oh, very good. I was gonna say that. You steal my line.
My bad.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
He gets an A for that.
A very small A. Yeah, you have to gain more A to make it like A. Triple A, right? Okay, so Professor Bishwa is from there. We have a faculty, in economic development. How many of you watch that Batman movie? What is that called? There are so many. It's one that's something about rising or rise or something.
Dark Knight, right?
Darkness. Yeah, the dark.
Oh, the one with
The
Christian.
one that at the beginning they have right. They have this cold weather, you know, and then there's this
Yeah.
awful cold winter weather. That was filmed in Nepal, I think. Yes.
Yeah, Nepal is also home to the biggest mountain known to man, Mount Everest.
Thank you for that information. I was going to say that. Student keeps stealing my line, and that is good. That shows that you have power, you're participating. I like that. Yes, I should give extra credit to these people. Very good. Now, a country like Nepal, they have low population density. It's isolated, right? Because so what makes how do you do trade with countries like that? What does it take?
Communication,
Communication, very good. What else?
cooperation,
Cooperation is good. One other thing, you gotta get there physically. What do we call that?
travel,
Transportation, very good. Probably have to use donkey. You know, they may not be trained horses. Well, horses, donkeys, maybe, yeah. It's mountain goats, you know. So, I just remember a story. I must tell the story. I was in Petra. Who's been to Petra? This is in Jordan, next to the country of Israel. I was in Petra, and that's like one of the world's wonders, you know, top 5 or top 10, you got which one. And in order to hide up to, they have this natural rock foundation, you know, formation that are really just astounding. You know, like you look at it, it's like, whoa, like Grand Canyon, almost. So I remember to get, I had to ride a horse for some distance, and then I had to ride a donkey, okay, to go up to the creek. Well, because I mean, actually climb, but the donkey would save you a lot of energy, and they're trained to do that, very good. So I let the donkey do the work of climbing. Then coming down, I can't use the donkey because the donkey is coming down like clop, clop, clop. And every time he does that, my back is like, whoa, whoa. It was too much for me. So this is it, you know. I think I can walk down, but, you know, going up, I'll use the donkey. So in other words, you have to use sometimes a very special form of transportation, the animal, to get to it. So, and there's some countries like China, for example, at the turn of the century, they don't believe in trading. The word China, this is a good information for you. In the Chinese meaning of what China is, means Middle Kingdom. Why do they call it Middle Kingdom? Because it's in the middle. That's what they think. Have you ever noticed any countries you go to buy a map from there, they're always in the middle. If you buy a map of America, America is in the middle. If you go to country like, what is it, France, buy a map there, world map, France is always in the middle. So now in the case of China, they call themselves Middle Kingdom. So they do not believe in doing trade with outsiders. So they call the outsiders barbarians, you know. Why should we do trade with you? It's so much better. So then they were behind for several decades because they're not doing trade, they're not in touch with the rest of the world to keep up with technology, inventions, and all that. So that's something to do with the custom. Okay, we talk about transportation, we talk about communication, and of course, all that is good. Like if you compare the country of Nepal with Scotland, for example. Now Scotland is kind of like, if you compare to Nepal, the transportation is a lot better, communication is a lot better. Now we could do trade in Scotland because there is good communication and transportation. And of course, you also need two other things, financial market, a banking system, because a lot of time, other countries want to invest in another country, but then, you know, if something goes wrong, you know, does the local law protect you? Or are you subject to American law or the local law? So these are the kind of things, legal framework and financial legal system that you have to take into consideration. So talking about specialization, the main problems that we looked at last time was specialization works. And it is worth it to specialize. And why is that? Because when you specialize, you get more. Remember, you were able to get, you were on the point outside the line. How many of you remember that? What do we call that point?
Inhibition.
No, inefficient is right here.
Like,
Very good, unattainable. This is the one that say, oops, oops, oops. Now, how many of you think A is unattainable? Oh, no. Okay, very good. I like your competence very much. So if you're right here right now, if you think you're, no, I think I'll just be happy with a C. Because all that it takes is a C to pass the course. So you can push higher there. And what did somebody say a while ago? To push higher up there so you could reach it outside, the unattainable point. You got to spend more time studying. That's all there is to it. To get help. Whoa, talking about getting help. Ta-da, I got this. Ooh, I forgot two other things. Remember I mentioned extra credit? Did I mention extra credit is very easy in this class?
Yes.
So this is tomorrow. When it passes, if you want to take a picture, go ahead, okay? So if you go to this, how many of you are business students? Oh, you need to go to this. Your professor may have already advertised, but if you go to this event, which is tomorrow at the University Center, 3:40 to 5 o'clock, there's a sign-in sheet. you could earn credit for passport, and I would say go for it. If you can make it, it's not mandatory, but when you sign up, please put my name there, put down under professor, so I'll give you extra credit for attending. Now, I'm giving you a little bit more incentive. Now, if you cannot make it, so be it, yeah. Yes,
What are we doing for another class too? Like the same thing for different.
well, you get double credit, triple credit, quadruple credit. You know, the professor doesn't care, as long as you go, you get 4 times. If you're in 4 classes with the professor, what I will require you to do is, listen very carefully. I'll give you a little bit more incentive. If you're just attending and just listen, and then you have to attend the whole thing, because, you know, I'll be there, I'll be looking out for you, yeah. If you're there, you attend, you sign something, you leave, I'll give you 3 point, extra credit point for attending. But if you write, handwrite, half a page, I only ask for half a page of summary, and turn it in to me at the end of that session, not tomorrow or the next day, because some people read the reporter's writing and then they copy and paste the whole thing and submit it to me. Please don't do that. I want to see your real work. So if you do that, I'll give you 5 extra credit points. These are valuable. If you could do it, do it. It does make a difference by the end of the semester. It doesn't seem like it is now, but it will be. Yes, questions?
Does it have to be half a page? 'Cause
Yes, has to be half a page, right. If your handwritings are big, write it in 3 sentences. Don't get into, yeah, don't get into detail. Don't get into detail, like, a lot of times students go for detail, like, things that he talk about his family life. Please skip all that. You want the punchline, the gist of what he's saying. And he could do it, I've seen students done it, 5 lines, 3 lines, yes.
when did you want it turned in by?
At the end of that session, I will be there, right? So you look for me, you give it to me, put it in my hands, yeah. So if you turn it in the next day or next class, everybody got it, you don't get it. Right. So most of the time, students take notes while that thing is in session. And most students can do that, they're good at that. By the time they finish, they walk up to me and say, here it is. I say, whoa. Most students don't have problem. Yes.
Is there an alternative if you can't go to that?
Is that what?
No, alternative like there's something else to do because if you can't go to it tomorrow.
It's not mandatory. Yeah, these are like optional, right? If you can't go to it, you have a class or you have work or what have you, then don't go for it. There will be other opportunities coming up. Yeah. Okay, speaking about that, here are the tutor's hours for economics, tutor. So please write this down. Xavier, that's his name, Ross. Economic tutor. And his hours are Monday, Wednesday, 2 to 4 p.m. He was there yesterday. TR, that's today, 2:15 to 3:15, 1 hour today. And then, cause the R is Thursday, so please write it down. That's at BA 113. This is the accounting lab. Everybody know if you walk out to the foyer area, you see that TV screen, flat screen TV screen, it's behind, that room behind, right? So please use his service. There's a sign-in sheet. Sometimes students say, I can't make it and all that. If you cannot make it, well, you know, make an appointment with me. But sometimes professors give, I wouldn't say extra credit, but, you know, I mean, if you show effort in going, at the end of the semester, we look at it and say, wow, this student go all the time, he's showing some effort, you know. If it is life and death situation, we might look into that. Right? I mean, like, borderline, great situation. Sometimes we take them into consideration. Some professors do that. Now, some professors don't believe in that. They say, oh, let's look at your performance. What? You didn't pass the test and so be it. So I'm more like a mixture. I give you a lot of chances. So make sure you take advantage of it. And I look at your effort as well. So let's go further about specialization. Have you ever heard of a hairstylist who specializes in cutting blonde hair only? Okay. Expert in tropical disease opened a practice in the town of 500 people in Wisconsin. What's wrong with that? Point out what is illogical
Not a
about
very tropical area.
Mhm. Not in Wisconsin, right? Okay, so you're in the wrong place. So you're not gonna get business. So that's not really specialization. They're at the wrong place. 7 bookstores, each open a different day of the week. Oh boy. How inconvenient, right? Very much so. So there is a limit to specialization, is what we're trying to get at. Okay, so let's talk about NAFTA. How many of you heard about NAFTA? That's a good one to write a paper on if you are really, because it has been so long ago. Bill Clinton and the Mexican, I forgot who was the Canadian president, signed that. North American Free Trade Agreement, that's what it stands for. It's somewhat controversial because when NAFTA was signed, there were a lot of protests in America. And people say, well, come on, give us a break, you know, and you are exporting jobs to other countries, you're letting the Mexican do the job, a Canadian, you know, like, because the wages are cheaper there, so American companies want to move out there, but then you're taking business away from the local workforce. So there was some controversy there because of that. So what in economics we call that protectionisms. Costs are concentrated in some industry. Okay, so certain industries are affected. Think especially textile industry. Any industry that use blue collar workers are affected. So, for example, Robertson County, Lumberton used to have a big textile industry, but it's no longer around because it's considered a sunset industry now, you know, because you can't really compete with China when it comes to textile, or hiring cheaper workers over there. So a lot of these big companies moved to China. Same thing with HP, you know, right? Hewlett Packard. So they moved their plants to China, and a lot of stuff you got today. I mean, not just made in China, but in other countries. All you have to do is just pull your shirt back and look at the label at the back and say, see, where's it made? I would be surprised if some of you say, oh, this is made in USA. That would be very rare today. There's still some. Most of them are made in other countries. So NAFTA take away jobs from some people, certain industry in USA, so therefore it is somewhat unpopular. Again, the good side of it, the other part of the argument is that you got specialization. Because remember I mentioned like cowboy boots, cowboy hats, Microsoft. What is it now, Windows 10?
Yes.
Okay, Windows 10. Oh, we got Mac, we got iPhone. Yeah, they make iPhone in America, yes. That's right. So we export it to other countries, and then you import these things that are good at, like you would import clothing and textile products from China. And again, I mentioned poncho, burrito, tacos, all these from Mexico. So this is my last slides on this, and then I'm gonna move on to chapter 3, which is a very important chapter. What is outsourcing? How many of you heard about the term outsourcing? I bet the guy tomorrow will talk about outsourcing. So is it passing around? Is everybody taking a picture or noting the time? Those of you who wants to go. I would like to have that copy back, yes. Thank you. Okay, so some of the work you can outsource. Now, very common outsourcing industries are medical transcription. These are mainly outsourced to countries like India. Because, you know, the doctors would take notes, they record their diagnosis with patients, and then they have it, they send the thing to India, or, you know, everything's digitized now, and then they type up the transcription and send it back. Customer call centers. I think a lot of you may have experience with your Dell computer, your Acer computer. You have to call up technical support.
Oh man, I have it.
Okay, you may want to try it, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And people on the other line typically are located in other parts of the world. India, Philippines, Costa Rica. I always ask them, where am I calling? Bolivia? Whoa, really? Wow. So they have been outsourced to a lot of countries because, more or less they're the same. And medical tourism, how many of you heard about that term? Okay, that's my research. Yes, that's my research field. So what it is outsourcing medical services to other countries.
Like Doctors Without Borders?
Some,
No,
yeah,
I mean-
part of it.
For facelifts in Thailand or whatever it might be.
Yep, some of them is the patients, American patients travel to other parts of the country, other parts of the world, and actually going to see doctors there. I'll give you an example. Now, if you have a bypass, what we call cabbage, how many of you heard about the term cabbage? Okay. So tell us what it stands for, if you know what it is. Remember that
I
one?
know,
It's something to do with your heart, right?
Yeah, it's
Called
cardiologic,
coronary artery bypass.
aortic bypass.
Bypass,
Bypass
correct,
grafting.
right. Okay, so that,
That
if you have that, because a lot of people have bypass, right? Especially if you're like, I think over 60 and maybe even over 50. And it could be quadruple bypass, or it could be triple bypass, or double bypass. But anyway, that, if you don't have insurance, that thing is gonna cost you 200,000, at least. So that's like buying a brand new tractor, Henry, you're talking about, buying a new house, But if you go to countries like Thailand, India especially is good with that, you pay something like 40,000. What's the big difference? Big difference. And those people were trained, the Indian doctors, for example, were trained in America or UK. They are board certified, and so my research is visiting these countries, go to their hospitals and talk to them, take pictures. And, and basically I find it very interesting because a lot of time you hear Americans go abroad to do surgery, mostly cosmetics. These are the old days. It's no longer true, just these cosmetic surgeries alone. But other important thing, the major one, the main surgeries that they go for now are things like knee replacement, hip replacement, shoulder replacement, anything in the orthopedics area. And then of course this is a big one. So as long as it's not emergent, you can wait to do it. Now, if you do any knee replacement in the US, it costs about 40,000, 42,000, 45,000. Okay, so do it in Thailand or India, it's something like 8,000. A big difference there. Because there are a lot of arguments about, is it the same thing? Sometimes better service, better quality. But of course, there are a lot of hindrances. People say, well, I have to travel, So outsourcing of medical treatment. Technical writing, this kind of thing you could outsource, but not everything you could outsource. Can you outsource a haircut?
No.
I don't think so. I mean, you could do teleconferencing. Here's my hair. Can you cut it? No way. I could give you advice. First, take out a piece of a pair of scissors. Next, move it close to your hair and start cutting this way. And well, anyway, it's not going to work because physical presence is required. And there's such a thing called quality control. We talk about medical tourism, so a lot of issues evolve around this quality issues, I mean, do they have HIPAA, right? How many of you know what HIPAA is? When you go see a doctor's, right, you fill out all sorts of forms. Remember that?
Confidentiality stuff.
Yeah, very good. So when you, the confidentiality of your medical records.
Bless you.
So at the end of that visit, like, have you noticed that all you have to do is just come up to your nose and they say goodbye? Do you think they say, wait a minute, Mr. Henry, I think you got to file insurance on your own. Ooh, that would be a nightmare. You'll be there 3-4 hours, I guarantee you. So they do all the filing of medical claims or whatever, your part insurance, but that is so. In fact, the reason that healthcare cost is so high, that was part of the reason, the administrative cost. But you know, it saves you a lot of hassle. All you have to do is do the copay when you walk in, $30, $40. Go see the doctors 4 hours later. How many of you know you have to wait when you go see a doctor?
But even a lot of that is outsourced now, the filling out of insurance forms, that's,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of places do that all.
I wish I had a chips, you know, that could just kind of like,
Got a buddy, he's got a company down in Houston of all
Centralized.
places, and that's all he does. Maximizes the profitability for hospitals and doctors' offices by maximizing the insurance
Yeah,
off the different procedures that are performed.
very good. We're talking about economics here, so that's efficiency, right? Very good. Thank you for that example. Okay, so the other hindrances as well, complex communication. It may not be so straightforward to just say outsource it. And you might have language difficulties, you know, cultural differences, and you say one thing, he meant one thing, but you meant the other. And that's what it is by understanding the nuance. Okay, greater security for workers is ability to adapt quickly to changing circumstances. So that's us. Hopefully by taking this class, you know, you are a little bit more well-rounded, and you're open to changes. So the one who adapts quickly is the one who survives at the end. Let's move on to chapter 3. Chapter 3 is a very extremely important chapter. If you don't understand this chapter, the rest of the semester you will stop it. That's basically what it is. So we start gonna do big time drop. So when I do it with me. So what's demand and supply? You heard about it.
One
Demand
is
is more
the
than.
input and the other one is the output.
That was chapter.
Sorry, again?
One is the input, the other one is the output.
Okay, which one is input, which one is output?
Supply.
So how about another way to look at it is, let's say education, okay? You're here to get education. Who is a consumer of education? People like you, students, okay? Who's a supplier of education? Professor, right? Now, how many of you have practiced demand and supply when you come to this class today? Without realizing, I bet you did. Did you breathe the air today?
Buying gas for your car.
Okay, you're a consumer of gas, but you breathed the air today, right? It was a cool day out there. So you're a consumer of air. Hey, that's economics already. Did you realize that? Every breath that you take is economics. You can think economics left and right, up and down, every second. You are in it, you just didn't know. You're consuming it, you just didn't know. Now you know. Okay, what are some of the economic problems we look at? Who should produce? How should it be produced? For whom would it be produced? Who are the big customers out there? How? How has got something to do with market structure? What should it be produced? Come on, you got to produce something. What are you doing? Why do you open up a shop? What are you producing? Please tell me. Nothing? You're waiting for inspiration to come so you know what to produce. Okay, great. A t-shirt. I don't know why I give t-shirt an example, because I think some of my students told me that. So that's one of the things you could do. Unique feature of a t-shirt or what have you. Okay. And some of you can always think about niche market, because some of you wanted to be in this field called entrepreneurship. You want to start your own business. And that's why you get a business degree, for some of you. Now, when you hear the word market, what comes to mind? Customer, very good. What else? Customer is the buyer side. What's the other side?
Seller.
Sellers,
You're buying something.
'Cause you
Who
have
supply that something?
produce.
Producer, right? So if you're buying a textbook, who's the supplier of textbook? McGraw-Hill, very good. The publisher. Okay, if you want the monopoly, the big shark in town. the bookstore, right?
Third party.
What, yeah, oh boy. I probably shouldn't call them that, they might be mad. Did we record this? Yeah, we just outsource it to third parties, so, yeah, so it's no longer part of UNCP, something like that. So what determine the price of pizza, gasoline, a car wash, other goods and services? So when you hear about goods, right? A while ago, we say education. Education is not a good, it is a service, very good. Haircut is a service. If you walk into the bank and put in deposit or open a bank account, that's a banking service. How many of you like to dine out? Okay. Do you tip the waiters, waitresses?
No.
Please say yes.
Yes.
Please say yes.
It depends on the service.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you still tip though. You're not gonna tip by zero, right?
I remember in the state of North Carolina, those servers only make $2.25, so, you know, they better do something wrong if I don't tip them, so you should really tip your servers.
Right. Very good point, thank you.
And a lot of your fellow students work as hostesses or servers.
Yeah, I enjoy tipping because I think that's the best part of the meal. Tip your waiters and waitresses. And if they're my students, I tip more, even more. So please tell me where you work. So I could bless you. So the demand curve, what is a demand curve? It's a graph that tells the quantity of good you want to buy at each price. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to this. Let's look at the graph. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So we want to look at a graph now. So if you have I hope you take notes. This is a good one to draw because the next set of assignment requires you to draw graphs. Okay, with your hands, not with computer, with your hands. So first you do a L, as usual. Everybody could do a L. And then up here is your price on your y-axis. Usually that's your value. In economics, we put interest rate up here, we put wages up here, we put household incomes here, we put prices here. These are the values. And down here, we put quantity. What are we looking at? We're looking at pizzas, the market for pizza. And remember, market consists of both buyers and sellers. Or if you like, economic term, consumers and producers. So it is downward sloping, your demand curve. Remember we talked about it, we read from left to right. So this is your demand curve, it is downward sloping. Okay, so let's take a point A. At point A, the price of pizza is $4 per slice.
$4.
Okay, so now I know that this is talking about pizza in Chicago and it's in thousands of slices, but I want to kind of like work at a scale that you could understand. So let's just say it's 8 slices of pizza. It's still 8,000, it doesn't matter. So if we drop the price, say to $2, well, let's say to $3 first, so that would be the next point. Dropping the price, then, now if the price is cheaper, right, you would want to buy more. That's right. So then you buy 12 units, that's an example. And then from point B to point C, meaning that if it has dropped to $2 per slice, then you would buy 16 units. That's when you invite your professor to your pizza party. Is that because you're cheap? Well, no, just because you can invite more people, you know, yeah. So that's the law of demand. The law of demand today, let's go back, as price of the good or services goes down, the quantity consumer wish to buy will increase. So let's write this down in short form. The law of demand say, DD stands for demand, okay? As price goes down, the quantity consumer want to buy, that's quantity demanded in English. I think I better write this down for you. Quantity demanded goes up, right? From 8 to 12 to 16. As the price comes down from 4 to 3 to 2. So, this is called the law of demand, and vice versa. Can somebody tell me what's the meaning of vice versa?
Reverse.
The reverse? Okay, can you restate the reverse part explicitly?
As the quantity of
The
demand
other way.
goes down,
Vice versa.
okay, as the
Cause and
price
effect.
goes up, the quantity of demand goes down.
Quantity demanded goes down. Very good. I hope everybody heard what she said. That was perfect. She said, if the price goes up, the quantity demanded will come down. Please use the term quantity demanded because this is going to be extremely important that you know the difference between the word quantity demanded and demand. That will actually come out on your test. At least 2 questions we ask because that is so important. So what it is, I want you to pay attention because of what she said just now at the beginning. Okay, now it tells you the quantity of the good that buyers want to buy at each price. In other words, the cost is the price. You start out with the price first. This is very important because I see a lot of students, homework assignment, they started explaining it the other way. This is the cost, this is the effect. Because higher price or lower price, then it affect how much you're going to buy. Now, when you walk out to McDonald's, you're not going to think like that. You say, well, I want to buy 10 hamburgers today because I want to have a little party in my apartment. And you're not going to say to them, hello, I'm buying 10, would you sell it to me for 50 cents per hamburger? They say, go somewhere else, like Burger King. Right? So in other words, it's given the price, then you say how much you want to buy. It's not like, well, I want to buy 100. How much can you offer me? It doesn't work that way. This is McDonald's we're talking about. It's not this mom and pop shop that they allow you credits. This is a real world, yeah. If you don't like McDonald's, you could always go to, Burger King. Why do buyers buy a greater quantity at lower price and vice versa? So the way to explain this downward sloping demand curve, there are 2 hypotheses. The first one is known as substitution effect. Second one is known as income effect. Substitution effect is very straightforward. Now, let me ask you this. A lot of people would agree that Coke and Pepsi are very good substitute. Now, let me see a show of hands. How many of you prefer Pepsi over Coke? Okay, we have a few students. How many of you prefer Coke over Pepsi? That's me also. I could go 1 degree further, like caffeine free, 0, but never mind. Coke is Coke. Coke is Coke, yeah. It's come a long way. The original version versus what it is today, right? Well, you know how they want to add stuff to it, and then you have this 0 Coke. What, caffeine free? What was the other one? Oh, Diet Coke, yeah.
Coke
Pepsi Max.
Coke Zero, that's what I mean.
They got-
Diet Coke.
Clear Coke.
We're getting rid of Coke Zero.
Yeah, and then you have vanilla Coke. Oh,
Yeah, vanilla Coke is good.
come on, that's. Actually, try one. I actually like it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
New Coke.
Like Sprite isn't.
So now you know. Substitution effect. That's because, when it is more expensive, when it drops, you say, I'll buy more pizza and goodbye hamburger. I'll just strictly live on pizza alone. No hamburgers. The income effect. Now, income effect has got something to do with your purchasing power. How many of you like that word? Well, but remember, purchasing power can be up and down. So if you want it to be high, purchasing power, yes. So it gives you power when it is, let me just say this. If it is more cheaper and cheaper, you feel like you have more higher purchasing power. So then, you buy more. Right, so that explains it. And by the way, the definition is in your book as well. And again, it's in the PowerPoint slides that you could download and bring it to the class or print them out. Okay, now next we want to talk about this thing called reservation price. How many of you have heard about that term, like for the first time? Oh, most of you have heard about it, okay. Let me see if I could ask some question there. So reservation price, there are two types of reservation price. One is a buyer's reservation price, the other one is a seller's. So at this point, we're only talking straight to you about the buyer side. Because demand curve, back to what you say, Ms. Joseph, earlier, input and output. So it's not so much about input and output, it's more about the buying and the selling, which makes a market. So the demand side is the consumer side, or the buyer side. People like us. And then the supplier side are people like Domino's Pizza, Papa John's, Pizza Hut, and what have you out there. So let's look at it. What is a reservation price? And this is important. It is the largest dollar amount or the maximum, if you like to add words to it, maximum is good for it, would be willing to pay for an additional unit. You're willing to pay someone X dollar, was it $7 to wash your car? Is that good? When you have someone wash your car, do you feel good?
Do it yourself.
Yes. Well, no, that's another question, yeah. If you do it yourself, that's a marginal cost. But if you have someone wash your car for $7, you are smiling. When you smile, yeah, someone washed my car for $7, all right. That comes as a benefit, because you're smiling. When you're washing your car yourself, you have to sweat, don't forget. I went to Fairview not long ago to wash a car, and I thought, oh yeah, washing a car is easy. Let's vacuum it. Whoa. I walk out sweat to the end of it. And it was like, I haven't washed my car in a while, so, yuck, $3. This is the cost, because you got to sweat. So your economic surplus is the difference between 7 and 3, which is 4. So that's the answer. Right. So that's good. Greater than 0, go for it. Okay. I don't know why. Yeah, but that was kind of like in the same area there. So the largest dollar you're willing to pay. See the word willing to pay, willing to pay, willing to pay is the benefit side. It's your demand side. Additional unit, extra or marginal. Okay, remember the word marginal? When we talk about NASA Space Center? That's your marginal benefit. Okay, let's go back to that largest dollar. Let me give you an example. Let's ask the ladies this question. How much are you willing to pay for a nice dress? Give me a figure. Just throw out any figure. $100? Okay, very good. Guys, how much are you willing to pay for a dress for your girlfriends?
Nowhere near $200.
I would spend it.
As much as it takes to make her happy.
Well, that's a good answer. Can you quantify that answer? That question, that answer? Right. Okay, let's take 100. Okay, everybody. Because 100 is kind of like easy to walk. You walk into a Macy's. You look at all the dresses, oh, they're so good, oh, wow, you know, it's my and they're all above $100. What do you do?
Go to Ross.
Walk out, right? Don't try to steal. Don't steal for your girlfriend, she won't appreciate it. So you walk out, you say, no way, I can afford it. Right, because the maximum that I'm willing to pay is 100. And that's a top ceiling, right? Now, you're not gonna walk up to them and say, well, by the way, excuse me, you know, the minimum I'm willing to pay is 100. Think about it for a second. What would be their reaction?
They'll start asking for a discount.
No. Think about it for a second. If you walk up to them and say, oh, but the minimum, keyword, I'm willing to pay is $100. What do you think they do?
I got $500.
I got one.
Very good.
I have something with $1,000.
I got 500.
$1,000 dresses at Macy's.
Welcome to the store.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit.
Come on
Yeah, we
in.
got $10,500 dollars of dress. So you're not gonna walk in and say the minimum you're willing to pay. You say the maximum. The more I'm willing to pay, the most I'm willing to pay is $100. So hey, come on, textbook. How many of you go to the bookstore and look at it and say, "Whoa, let me call my mom and dad." Right? That's a reaction, right? Because you say, "I thought it was only $25. What's going on? Is this college?" Right? And now it really hits you. And it hit me too because my son is just into college. You have to buy a book and I already stamp a picture and say, "This is the book you're gonna buy," and it costs $151. Okay, so well, it doesn't matter because mom paid for it. But you know, it hurts because hey, you're paying for it. You look at the price and say, "Wow." And you start talking economics. Economics start to come alive. You say, the maximum I'm willing to pay is $50. I'm not gonna budge. Right. Good reaction. Let's go online and see who's gonna sell a used copy. And then you got people who, you got somebody online and said, "Oh yeah, I have taken Dr. Gunn's class, by the way. And this is a textbook, it's got highlights all over the place. She likes it, you know. And I'm gonna sell it to you for $40. Would you buy it?
Yes, ma'am.
You will.
Yes, ma'am.
You will because you're willing to pay $50, right?
Correct.
So if let's just say somebody say 60, you will not buy it. And then you may have to haggle a little bit until you reach the price that you want.
I guess you have to depends on what the original retail cost is. If you'll still come out better, if it's still cheaper, I don't see why not.
Are you allowed to write your name on the book?
I mean, you can. If you
It's up to you, right? But would it lose its value at the end of the semester when you return it?
Yeah.
They're still gonna give you $5.
Regardless of if your name is on it, because you're gonna scratch out your name anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Books cost $100.
Well, I'm asking you because this is a student question. I keep telling my son, you know, write your name on it in case someone steals your book. And then I'm thinking like maybe you shouldn't write your name because you know at the end of the semester when you sell it back to the bookstore look at it and say, well, this is all so crisp, you know, and no name on it, so maybe you get a higher price. So it's the same price regardless?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, okay.
They're still
Thank
gonna
you.
sell it for like almost like.
Anyway, marginal benefit is the increase in total benefit that results from carrying out one additional unit of an activity. Now remember that equation I gave you before, right? Remember that one, MB1 equals to TB1 minus TB0.
Zero.
And MB2, marginal benefit of second unit is total benefit of 2 units minus total benefit of 1 unit, and so on and so forth. This is second, this is 2 minus previous 1 unit less. Okay, let's move on to the supply side. The supply side of the curve is the other way. So now I'm gonna erase this. And I'm gonna say this is a supply curve now. Now we're looking at the producer or the seller. Okay, so now let's look at the graph first. Now, when you do the supply side, you're looking at it from the seller's viewpoint. You are Pizza Hut now. You are Papa John's now. You are Domino's now. If it costs $2, I will supply 8 units. Let's just say, use the same number here. But tell me something. So if the pizza is, you could sell it for a higher price, let's say $3. Would you want to sell more units or would you want to sell less? More, because you could get more revenue out of it. You have more incentive to supply because it's more expensive now. And remember, you get it, you know, you get the revenue. So if it's $4, your eyes keep popping bigger and bigger. You say, oh yeah, oh yes, I will supply more. So as it is, if the price goes up, you have incentive to supply more and more units of pizza. So A and B and C. Okay, so let's go back to this so-called, and therefore supply curve is upward sloping, what we call upward sloping. SS stands for supply. So then the law of supply would say, as the price goes up, quantity supply goes up as well. Notice that they move in the same direction, unlike the case of the law of demand. Now, if the price goes up, quantity supply goes up because you have more incentive to supply more units. And vice versa means the other way. If price comes down, quantity supply comes down. Because you say, oh yuck, oh, you mean it's $2 less than before? Well, I think I only sell this such and such unit, which is not as high as before. So let's go back. This is a curve or schedule showing the quantity of goods that sellers are willing to sell at each price. Again, the price is the cost. So when you do your homework problem, right, I want you to explain, graph is important, it's necessary, it's mandatory graph. And then just one line of explanation, what happened, you have to say price goes up, quantity supply or quantity demanded comes down. So price is the cost, beginning point of the analysis. And then the quantity supply and quantity demanded is the effect. Okay? All right, so sellers must receive a higher price to produce additional unit of a product to cover higher opportunity costs. Okay. So remember a while ago I mentioned the low-hanging fruit principle. That's kind of like that, right? You have reached all your resources at the lowest point that you could reach. And then if you want to climb up higher to reach those apples, you have to use the ladders. It costs a little bit more. The marginal cost is higher, whether it's in terms of time, efforts, and you charge more. So very much a lot of time in this textbook, a lot of time the sellers or supply curve, we also call it marginal cost curve. I'll talk about it later, but now I don't want to confuse you, so let's just stay with that. Now, what is the seller's reservation price? Now, remember a while ago we say the buyer's reservation price when you walk into the Macy, you be sure you tell them the maximum and not minimum price you're willing to pay. Now, if you're a seller, you're going to say the minimum price that I'm willing to let go of my wonderful, desirable textbook is $50. So you use term like that. The lowest price I'm willing to let go is $50. So you're not gonna say the maximum price because it doesn't make sense. So I think you kind of get the gist now. So as a seller, you talk in terms of the smallest dollar amount or the minimum price that you're willing to let go of your product, whatever it is you're selling. Okay, so the marginal cost is therefore increasing total cost that result from carrying out one additional unit of activity. So the same thing I just erased, you could substitute everything marginal benefit in terms of marginal cost, which we have gone over when we did the NASA Space Shuttle program, pitfall number 4 in chapter 1. I'm gonna skip that. Next, we want to come to the term equilibrium. What is equilibrium?
Balance.
Balance is a good term. What else? Now, most of you do not know what the term equilibrium is. So, equilibrium is everything is in balance. What does it mean?
The supply and the demand is equal.
Okay, very good. I like that. You must have read the book in advance, which is very, very good. Very good. So, now, how many of you, when you grow up, you have been to the playground and you have been on this thing called seesaw?
Yeah.
Most of you have, and know what it is, right? So, if you are you, the other person is heavier than you, where are you?
You're up in the air.
You're up in the air because the other person is on the ground. So, and if you are you're heavy, right? Then you're up in the air. The other guy is on the ground. But if both of you are more or less the same weight, what happens?
You got the same
Up in the air, Mom, come get me, right? Because then you're up in the air, and that's called balance. Balance is how many of you watched this Dracula's movie? Never mind. Where the old grandfather's clock is ticking midnight. They always say midnight. You know, the black cat is jumping over, and then you hear this dong. And the pendulum of the clock keep going, tick tock, and then at 12 o'clock saying dong. Stops right there, and then start making noise, right? So the word equilibrium means balance. What else? Use another word to describe it. Start with S. Let's see if you could get it. Come on, we're not gonna play show, eh?
Is this a read?
Okay, give me the second letter, T.
Stable.
Stable?
Stable is good. Stability, very good. Because you were up in the air, in the seesaw, on the seesaw, until your mom and dad come get you, because you can't get down. It's stable. So, ooh, this is smiling face. Demand and supply. This is when a while ago I say $50 for the book, right? And they sell you $60. They say, well, the seller say the lowest price I'm willing to let go of the book is $60. You say, well, excuse me, but the maximum price that I'm willing to pay for this lousy class is $50. What do you say? You get louder. The other person also get louder, and then finally both of you realize that it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be a market that takes place. And both of you soften down. And the other person say, okay, how about $55? You squint your eyes and say, how about $52? The other person say, how about $53.25? You say, sold. You say, bought. That's it. How much did I say? $53.50 or 25 cents. Let's say 50 cents. Whoa, happy. Because now there is a market that consists of buyer and seller. Which in the example we give, let's go through it and then come back. Okay, so in this case it's $3. In the case of the pizza example, $3 and this is 12. Let me ask you this. This is very important. This is when, at this point here, this is called equilibrium point. And this is your equilibrium price, P star. And this is your Q star, or your equilibrium quantity. This is a price where buyers and sellers are happy. This is a quantity that they're happy to sell and buy, sell and buy at. So we call that equilibrium, and that's the point where it is stable. The stable comes because there's a market force that forces it to happen and convert right there to that point. We call that equilibrium. Everybody's happy. And another thing about that equilibrium is that your quantity demanded is exactly equal to your quantity supply. And that's another reason that you're happy. Okay, so let's go back there. Market equilibrium, it happened in the market where all the buyers and sellers are satisfied, otherwise known as happy, with the respective quantities at the market price. Given that $3, we're happy to sell you 12. Period. Given that it's $3, I'm happy to buy 12 units. You hear the word happy, happy, happy. Equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, we talked about that already. So, okay, I think we could, I'm gonna give your homework back to you. So let me explain the answer very quickly, and then I give it back to you, according to the way you did, because I put them in order already. So you got the answer for the first part, the economic surplus is $3, because your benefit is $7, you make someone wash your car, you're happy, so that's your benefit side. Marginal cost is $3 because you're not as happy because you have to sweat to wash your car yourself. So the answer is $7 minus $4, $3. I want to see the equation. Now, the next question is interesting. And I think only a few students got it. I'm looking for the keyword sunk cost. It doesn't matter. Denise doesn't matter, Christy doesn't matter, $20 is considered a sunk cost. So in other words, they are not more likely than the other to buy the ticket. So it's not so much about whether they will do it or they're not doing it, but it's because they are the sunk cost. You have questions?
So you really wanted that particular, not definition, but you wanted that,
You have to mention that, yeah.
That reason.
but if you put the definition like of that word, does that still